Someone may be secretly watching your every move. My beloved child, don't skip this message. Before you dismiss these words as coincidence, listen carefully, because this story is not about living in fear. It is about becoming aware. Sometimes the greatest danger is not the loud voice that announces itself, but the silent presence that never reveals its intentions. There are moments in life when you begin to feel as though something has shifted. You cannot explain it with certainty, yet your instincts keep whispering that someone is paying far more attention to you than you ever imagined. Stay until the end, because what this message truly reveals has the power to change the way you see your own life. Think about the last few weeks. Have there been strange coincidences? Perhaps someone unexpectedly knew information you never shared with them directly. Maybe you felt an unusual sense of being observed while walking into a room, posting online, or making an important decision. None of these moments alone prove anything. They could have perfectly ordinary explanations. Yet when unusual events seem to pile up, they often encourage us to slow down, notice our surroundings, and make thoughtful choices instead of acting on autopilot. The truth is that every person leaves behind small clues. Every conversation, every habit, every routine creates patterns. Sometimes people notice those patterns simply because they admire you. Sometimes because they are curious. Sometimes because they hope to learn from your success. And occasionally, someone pays attention for reasons that are far less positive. The important lesson is not to become suspicious of everyone around you. It is to remember that your personal life deserves healthy boundaries. There are people who quietly celebrate your victories from a distance. They never interrupt your journey, yet they genuinely hope you succeed. There are also people who compare their lives to yours so often that your progress begins to affect their emotions. Comparison has a strange way of changing hearts. A person who once applauded your growth may slowly become consumed by jealousy if they measure their worth against your achievements. That is why wisdom teaches us not to share every detail of every dream before it has time to grow. Listen carefully. The strongest people are not the ones who constantly announce their next move. They are the ones who quietly build their future while allowing their actions to speak louder than their words. Every successful journey requires moments of silence. Every meaningful goal deserves protection until it is strong enough to stand on its own. There is incredible strength in choosing privacy over constant attention. Imagine planting a small seed in a garden. You would not dig it up every morning to prove it was growing. You would water it, protect it, and trust the process. Your goals deserve that same patience. Your dreams deserve that same quiet confidence. Not everyone needs access to every chapter of your story while it is still being written. Sometimes the feeling of being watched is not caused by another person at all. Sometimes it comes from the pressure of believing that everyone is judging your every decision. Social media, public opinions, and endless comparisons can create the illusion that thousands of eyes are constantly focused on you. In reality, most people are busy navigating their own challenges. Learning to separate genuine concerns from imagined pressure is one of the greatest forms of emotional freedom. That is why awareness matters more than fear. Awareness allows you to notice unusual situations without becoming consumed by anxiety. It encourages you to protect your privacy online, choose your friends carefully, and trust your instincts while still remaining kind and respectful toward others. Fear, on the other hand, steals your peace and convinces you that every stranger is an enemy. Wisdom always chooses awareness over panic. What happens next depends entirely on the choices you make today. Perhaps this message simply reminds you to update your passwords, review your privacy settings, and think twice before sharing personal information publicly. Perhaps it encourages you to pay closer attention to relationships that consistently leave you feeling uncomfortable or manipulated. Small actions taken today can prevent much larger problems tomorrow. Every successful person eventually learns that attention is a double-edged sword. The more visible your life becomes, the more important your boundaries become. Success attracts encouragement, curiosity, opportunities, criticism, admiration, and sometimes unhealthy fascination. None of these responses should determine your identity. Your worth was never meant to be measured by the number of people watching you. There is another possibility worth considering. Sometimes the person paying close attention to your life is doing so because they see qualities in you that they wish they possessed themselves. Your discipline, your resilience, your kindness, your determination to keep moving forward despite setbacks. Instead of allowing someone else's attention to distract you, let it remind you that your example may be influencing others in ways you never expected. The greatest protection you can carry is not secrecy alone. It is integrity. When your choices are honest, your character is consistent, and your values remain strong, very little can shake your foundation. People may observe your actions, misunderstand your motives, or create stories about your life, but they cannot rewrite the truth of who you are. Stay until the end, because this final thought matters most. Whether someone is quietly cheering for you, comparing themselves to you, learning from you, or simply noticing your journey, your responsibility remains exactly the same. Continue becoming the person you were meant to be. Continue making wise decisions. Continue protecting your peace without allowing fear to control your heart. The world will always contain curious eyes. That has been true throughout history. Yet peace belongs to those who refuse to live for those eyes. Live according to your values. Speak with kindness. Protect your boundaries. Celebrate your victories with humility. Learn from your mistakes without shame. And never allow the possibility that someone is watching your every move to stop you from moving forward with courage. If this message encouraged you to value your privacy, trust your judgment, and move through life with greater wisdom, let it stay with you long after this story ends. Share it with someone who might need the reminder. Leave a comment with the word "aware" if you're choosing wisdom over fear. And if you enjoy thoughtful stories like this, subscribe so you don't miss the next journey. Sometimes the smallest reminder arrives at exactly the right moment, and perhaps today, this was yours. But my beloved child, there is something even deeper that you have not considered yet. Not everyone who watches your journey wants to interrupt it. Some are waiting in silence because they are trying to understand how you continue to rise after every setback. They have seen storms that should have broken your spirit, yet somehow you kept moving. They expected you to give up, to lose hope, or to disappear into disappointment. Instead, every challenge became another reason for you to grow stronger. That quiet resilience has captured more attention than you realize. Listen carefully, because this part is important. The greatest influence is rarely created by loud words. It is created by consistent actions. Every time you choose kindness instead of bitterness, every time you refuse to quit after a failure, every time you keep your integrity when no one seems to notice, you are writing a story that others cannot ignore. Even people who have never spoken to you may be learning from the way you carry yourself through life's difficulties. There are moments when silence becomes your greatest protection. You do not need to announce every opportunity that appears before you. You do not need to explain every decision or defend every dream. Some victories become stronger when they grow quietly. A tree develops its deepest roots beneath the surface long before anyone admires its branches. Your life follows the same principle. What is built in patience often lasts far longer than what is built for applause. Stay until the end, because what happens next changes everything. Imagine someone observing your journey, expecting you to make the same mistakes you made years ago. They wait for old habits to return. They expect fear to overcome you once again. But instead of repeating your past, you surprise them by choosing wisdom. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with peace. Instead of chasing approval, you remain focused on your purpose. That unexpected change leaves a greater impression than any words ever could. Sometimes the people who pay the closest attention are the very ones who once underestimated you. They remember the version of you that doubted yourself, struggled with uncertainty, or carried heavy burdens alone. They cannot understand how much you have changed because transformation often happens quietly. Growth is rarely dramatic while it is happening. Only later do people look back and realize that the person standing before them is no longer the same. My beloved child, never underestimate the power of protecting your peace. Every unnecessary argument steals energy that could have been invested in your future. Every attempt to prove yourself to people who have already made up their minds only delays the next chapter waiting for you. Your responsibility is not to convince everyone of your worth. Your responsibility is to continue becoming the person you were created to be, regardless of who is watching. There is another lesson hidden within this message. The attention you receive should never become the reason you change your values. If people praise you, remain humble. If they criticize you unfairly, remain steady. If they misunderstand your intentions, remain truthful. Character is revealed most clearly when outside opinions refuse to determine your inner peace. That quiet confidence becomes a light that no amount of doubt can extinguish. Do not allow curiosity about who may be watching to distract you from the path ahead. The moment you become obsessed with looking over your shoulder, you stop seeing the opportunities waiting in front of you. Your future deserves more attention than your fears. Every sunrise offers another chance to move forward with courage, wisdom, and purpose. Remember this above all else. Whether one person is watching or 1,000 people are paying attention, your journey belongs to you. Continue walking with confidence. Continue guarding your heart with wisdom. Continue speaking with kindness and acting with integrity. In the end, the life you build through patience, honesty, and perseverance will always speak louder than the opinions of those quietly watching from a distance. So keep moving forward, my beloved child. Your greatest chapter is not behind you, it is still unfolding. And when the day comes that others finally understand the strength you carried in silence, they will realize they were never simply watching your every move. They were witnessing the quiet transformation of a person who refused to let fear decide their future. My beloved child, there is one final truth hidden beneath everything you have heard so far, and very few people ever recognize it while it is happening. The people who quietly observe your life are often searching for something they cannot find within themselves. They are looking for confidence because they have lost their own. They are looking for hope because their path has become uncertain. They are looking for answers because they believe you have discovered a secret they somehow missed. What they fail to understand is that your strength was never handed to you. It was built one difficult day at a time, one painful lesson after another, until perseverance became part of who you are. Do not be surprised when your peace becomes more noticeable than your words. A calm heart has a way of standing out in a world filled with constant noise. While others rush to prove themselves, you have learned the value of patience. While others seek approval from every direction, you have begun to understand that true confidence grows quietly. This quiet confidence is what captures attention. It cannot be purchased, copied, or borrowed. It is earned through countless moments when you chose faith over fear and wisdom over impulse. Listen carefully, because this moment may change the way you see your journey forever. There will always be people who misunderstand your silence. Some will assume you have nothing to say. Others will mistake your kindness for weakness. A few may even believe your calm spirit means you are unaware of what is happening around you. But they could not be more mistaken. True wisdom does not react to every challenge. It carefully chooses which battles deserve attention and which distractions deserve to be left behind. Imagine walking through a forest before sunrise. Everything seems still. The trees barely move. The air is quiet. Yet beneath that silence, life is already awake. Roots continue to grow beneath the earth. Streams continue to flow. Birds prepare for the first light of morning. In the same way, your greatest progress often happens where no one can see it. The unseen work inside your heart eventually becomes the visible strength that others admire. Stay until the end, because something important is about to be revealed. There may come a day when someone who quietly watched your every step finally approaches you. They may ask how you remained hopeful during difficult seasons. They may wonder how you overcame disappointments that seemed impossible at the time. They may search for a simple answer, expecting one life-changing secret. Yet the truth is far simpler. You kept moving forward one decision at a time. You refused to let temporary setbacks define your future. You chose growth even when progress felt painfully slow. My beloved child, never allow another person's attention to become the measure of your success. If no one applauds, continue walking. If no one notices your effort, continue learning. If no one understands your purpose, continue living according to your values. The most meaningful victories are often achieved long before the world ever recognizes them. The applause may come later, or it may never come at all, but your character will always know the truth. There is a quiet strength that belongs to those who refuse to become distracted by every opinion surrounding them. They understand that life is too precious to spend chasing approval. Instead, they invest their energy in becoming wiser, kinder, more disciplined, and more compassionate with every passing season. Those qualities create a legacy that lasts far beyond temporary attention. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not whether someone is secretly watching your every move. Perhaps the greater question is this: who are you becoming while they watch? Every choice you make shapes that answer. Every act of patience, every moment of forgiveness, every step of courage writes another page in your story. Long after people forget your achievements, they will remember how your character made them feel. That is the influence that truly changes lives. So walk forward with confidence, my beloved child. Guard your peace, but never let caution steal your joy. Protect your dreams, but never stop believing in new possibilities. Let your actions speak with honesty, your heart remain humble, and your spirit remain strong. Whether the world is watching or no one notices at all, continue becoming the person you were created to be. And remember this: as our journey continues, the brightest light never competes with the darkness around it. It simply shines. Do the same. Let your life become a quiet example of courage, wisdom, patience, and hope. In time, those who once watched from a distance may discover that the greatest lesson they learned was never about you being observed, it was about the power of living with integrity when no recognition is guaranteed. Your story is still being written, and the most remarkable chapter has yet to begin. My beloved child, if you have stayed with this message until now, then your heart may already sense that this journey has never truly been about another person's eyes. It has always been about your own awareness. The moment you become fully aware of your thoughts, your choices, and the direction of your life, you stop giving unnecessary power to those who observe you from the shadows. That is the moment your confidence begins to grow into something unshakable. There are people who study your habits without ever introducing themselves. They notice the time you become active. They notice the dreams you speak about. They notice the days when you disappear into silence. They pay attention to the smallest details, hoping those details will reveal the secret behind your determination. Yet no amount of observation can teach the lessons that only experience can provide. They can watch your footsteps, but they cannot feel the courage it took to take each one. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. Every challenge you survived became a chapter that strengthened you. Every disappointment became a teacher. Every tear that no one else witnessed became a quiet reminder that strength is often born in private moments. The world only sees the person you have become today. It rarely sees the nights when you questioned yourself, the mornings when you struggled to begin again, or the countless moments when you chose to keep believing despite uncertainty. Never underestimate the value of a peaceful mind. A restless heart constantly searches for approval, but a peaceful heart knows exactly where it belongs. When your inner world is calm, outside opinions lose their ability to control you. Criticism becomes easier to learn from. Praise becomes easier to accept with humility. Even silence becomes a friend instead of something to fear. This kind of peace cannot be taken from you unless you willingly give it away. Stay until the end, because there is another hidden truth waiting for you. Sometimes the person watching your every move is hoping to see you fail because your success reminds them of the dreams they abandoned long ago. Instead of pursuing their own purpose, they spend their energy measuring your progress. Day after day, they wait for signs that you will become discouraged. They expect one mistake to erase everything you have built. Yet what they never expected is your refusal to surrender. My beloved child, resilience confuses those who have already given up. They cannot understand why you continue after disappointment. They cannot explain why you smile after heartbreak. They wonder how you remain hopeful when circumstances seem uncertain. What they fail to realize is that hope is a decision. Courage is a decision. Faith in tomorrow is a decision. Those decisions become habits, and those habits slowly transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. Picture a lighthouse standing beside a stormy sea. Massive waves crash against the rocks. Fierce winds shake everything around it. Dark clouds hide the stars above. Yet the lighthouse does not argue with the storm. It does not chase the waves away. It simply continues shining. That steady light becomes the reason ships find their way home. In the same way, your quiet consistency may guide people who never even tell you they were inspired by your example. There will be moments when the temptation to explain yourself feels overwhelming. You may want everyone to understand your intentions. You may wish people could see the truth behind your decisions. But not every misunderstanding requires a response. Sometimes silence protects your peace more effectively than 100 carefully chosen words. Time has a remarkable way of revealing truth without you having to defend it constantly. As you continue moving forward, remember that wisdom is not measured by how many people admire you. It is measured by how faithfully you remain true to your values when no one is applauding. Character is formed in ordinary moments. It is revealed when you choose honesty even when deception seems easier, compassion even when resentment feels justified, and patience even when every emotion urges you to react immediately. My beloved child, perhaps one day you will discover that someone really was paying close attention to your journey. Perhaps they admired your resilience. Perhaps they questioned your motives. Perhaps they hoped you would stumble. Whatever their reason, let it remind you of this simple truth: you cannot control the eyes that watch you, but you can always control the heart that guides you. Protect that heart with wisdom, kindness, and humility. So continue walking with quiet confidence. Let every sunrise remind you that another opportunity has been placed before you. Let every challenge become another chance to grow stronger. Let every act of kindness become another light in a world that often forgets the value of compassion. Whether people watch from nearby or from afar, never allow their attention to distract you from the purpose placed before you. And remember, my beloved child, the strongest people are not remembered because everyone watched them. They are remembered because they never stopped moving forward, even when they felt completely alone. If your path remains guided by integrity, patience, and hope, then every step you take will become part of a story worth telling. The journey is far from over, and the chapters ahead hold possibilities greater than anything you can imagine. Stay faithful to the path, keep your heart at peace, and continue shining without fear, because your greatest victories are still waiting just beyond the horizon. My beloved child, as this journey continues, allow your heart to settle for a moment and hear these words with clarity. There is a reason your spirit has remained restless. It is not because you are meant to fear the unknown, but because you are being invited to become more aware of the life unfolding around you. Awareness is a gift. It helps you recognize what deserves your attention and what deserves to be released. The more aware you become, the less control fear has over your thoughts. Listen carefully, because this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. The person who seems to be watching your every move may believe they understand you completely. They may think they have figured out your habits, your routines, and your next decision. But there is one thing they can never predict: the quiet transformation taking place within your heart. People can observe your actions, but they cannot see the wisdom that is shaping your choices each day. They may know where you have been, but they cannot know who you are becoming. Every season of your life has prepared you for this moment. There were days when disappointment felt heavier than hope. There were nights when silence seemed louder than every answer you prayed for. There were mornings when simply getting out of bed felt like an act of courage. Yet you continued. Step by step, lesson by lesson, you discovered that strength is not the absence of struggle. Strength is the decision to keep moving even when the path ahead is unclear. Stay until the end, because what you are about to understand is more powerful than any mystery. The greatest protection you will ever have is not knowing who is watching you. It is knowing who you are. When your identity is rooted in honesty, kindness, humility, and perseverance, outside opinions lose much of their power. People may misunderstand you. They may question your motives. They may even create stories about your life that are far from the truth. But none of those stories can change your character unless you allow them to. My beloved child, there is something remarkable about a peaceful soul. It does not need to win every argument. It does not need to answer every accusation. It does not need to chase every opportunity to prove itself. A peaceful soul understands that time reveals what words often cannot. It knows that truth has a quiet strength that eventually speaks for itself. That is why you must protect your peace as carefully as you protect your dreams. Imagine a river flowing through a valley. Along its journey it encounters rocks, fallen branches, and unexpected turns. Yet it never stops moving. It does not waste its energy arguing with every obstacle. It simply finds another way forward. Your life is much the same. There will always be challenges, unexpected opinions, and moments that test your patience. But like the river, you were created to keep flowing, adapting, and growing stronger with every mile. Perhaps someone has been paying close attention because they expected your light to fade. They believed the pressure would become too much. They assumed disappointment would eventually silence your hope. Instead, every hardship became another reason for you to become wiser. Every obstacle became another opportunity to grow. Without realizing it, they witnessed resilience being built one quiet decision at a time. Do not allow curiosity to steal your focus. It is easy to become consumed with wondering who noticed you, who spoke about you, or who formed opinions without knowing your heart. But every minute spent chasing those questions is a minute taken away from the beautiful future waiting to be built. Your purpose deserves more of your attention than anyone else's assumptions ever will. My beloved child, always remember that true confidence does not come from knowing people admire you. It comes from knowing you have remained faithful to your values even when no one was looking. That quiet confidence becomes a foundation that cannot easily be shaken. It gives you the freedom to celebrate without arrogance, to endure without bitterness, and to forgive without losing your dignity. One day, someone may finally tell you that they watched your journey from a distance. They may confess that your persistence encouraged them not to give up. They may admit that your patience inspired them to change their own life. In that moment you will understand something beautiful. The most powerful influence is rarely created through perfect words. It is created through a life that consistently reflects courage, compassion, and integrity. So continue your journey with an open heart and a steady spirit. Be wise with what you share, generous with your kindness, and careful with the peace you have worked so hard to build. Let every sunrise remind you that your story is still unfolding. Let every challenge remind you that growth often arrives wearing the disguise of difficulty. And let every new day become another opportunity to choose hope over fear. As this chapter comes to a close, remember one final truth, my beloved child. Whether many people notice your path or no one seems to see it at all, your greatest responsibility remains unchanged. Continue becoming the best version of yourself. Continue choosing patience over panic, wisdom over impulse, and love over resentment. In the end, the legacy you leave behind will never be measured by how many people watched your every move. It will be measured by how faithfully you walked your path with courage, humility, and unwavering integrity. And that is a story worth living every single day. The light they never expected. My beloved child, if you have walked with me through every chapter of this message, then you already understand that the greatest mystery was never about whether someone was secretly watching your every move. The greatest mystery has always been about the person you were becoming while life quietly unfolded around you. Every challenge, every unanswered question, every silent victory was shaping a heart that refused to surrender. And that transformation is something no one can take away from you. Listen carefully, because these may be the most important words you hear today. There will always be people who notice your journey for different reasons. Some will admire your courage. Some will question your choices. Some will compare their lives to yours. Others may simply be curious. But none of those reasons define your future. The only voice that truly determines your direction is the quiet voice of wisdom within you, calling you to take one faithful step after another. Perhaps someone really has been paying close attention to your life. Perhaps they have seen your determination, your kindness, your resilience, and your hope. Or perhaps the feeling of being watched was simply a reminder to live with greater intention and stronger boundaries. Either way, the lesson remains the same. Live in such a way that, if anyone were to observe your journey, they would witness honesty instead of deception, compassion instead of bitterness, and perseverance instead of despair. Remember the seed that grew beneath the soil before anyone could see it. Remember the lighthouse that continued to shine through the storm. Remember the river that never argued with the rocks but simply kept flowing toward its destination. Those were never just stories. They were reflections of the strength that has been growing inside you all along. There may come a day when you look back on this season of your life and realize that what once felt like uncertainty was actually preparing you for remarkable growth. The fears that once seemed overwhelming will become reminders of how far you have come. The obstacles that once appeared impossible will become proof that persistence can overcome what doubt insists cannot be changed. My beloved child, never allow fear to become the author of your story. Let wisdom hold the pen. Let kindness write the chapters. Let courage fill every page. The future does not belong to those who spend their days looking over their shoulders. It belongs to those who keep their eyes on the road ahead while carrying peace within their hearts. From this day forward, choose to walk with quiet confidence. Protect your privacy without closing your heart. Be thoughtful without becoming suspicious. Be humble without doubting your worth. Continue learning. Continue growing. Continue becoming a source of hope in a world that desperately needs more light and more compassion. And if someone is watching from a distance, let them witness something beautiful. Let them see a person who refuses to answer hatred with hatred. Let them see someone who chooses integrity even when shortcuts seem easier. Let them see a heart that continues to forgive, continues to dream, and continues to believe that tomorrow holds new possibilities. Your life may become the encouragement someone else has been searching for without you ever knowing it. One day, long after this moment has passed, you will understand that your greatest victory was never proving yourself to anyone else. It was remaining true to yourself through every season. It was choosing hope when fear seemed louder. It was choosing patience when frustration demanded immediate answers. It was choosing love when bitterness tried to take its place. So lift your head, my beloved child, and keep walking. The road ahead may still hold surprises, but it also holds opportunities, friendships, healing, wisdom, and moments of joy you cannot yet imagine. Every sunrise is another invitation to begin again. Every step forward is another declaration that your past does not have the final word. Your future is still being written, and the best chapters are waiting just beyond the horizon. Thank you for staying until the very end of this journey. If these words brought peace to your heart or encouraged you to live with greater wisdom, take a moment to leave the word light in the comments. It is a simple reminder that no darkness lasts forever when we choose to walk with hope. Share this message with someone who could use encouragement today, and if you would like to continue this journey together, subscribe and join our growing community. Until we meet again, my beloved child, guard your peace, treasure your kindness, walk in wisdom, and never forget this truth: the brightest light is not the one that demands attention, it is the one that quietly continues to shine, even when no one is watching. And that light has been within you all along.